Well, welcome, everyone. Thank you so much for joining us today on our May 1st edition of Daily Connections. Happy Friday. We made it through another week. So I appreciate that you're being here, that you are here and part of this conversation. I'm grateful for that. And that ties in, of course, to our topic of the day. So my name is Sinika Wah. I am with Your Clear Next Step. And these daily calls, the Daily Connection calls, have been part of our ongoing mission at Your Clear Next Step to help people have better work days, so that at the end of our better work days, we can have better evenings and better weekends, and we can then give our discretionary time back to helping build better communities. So I have been out here every weekday since March 19th, and it has been a joy to hang out with you. Many of you have been on many times. Some of you I see occasionally, and some are still new to the picture. And some are joining in by, you're watching this on Facebook now or on the YouTube channel, or you're just listening to the podcast. And I am so grateful that you've taken the time to do that. And that's our topic, right? Today's topic is gratitude. And I like to start these conversations with at least a little bit of opening remarks on the topic and just share some thoughts that I hope will be useful. The whole reason we did Daily Connections is so that we could have a daily dose of positivity, right? That's, hey, I'm good for that. A dose of daily positivity and a dose of continuity, so that every day we would have some consistent regularity, and so that we would have the opportunity to collaborate and connect with each other, and so that we could learn something. And I've committed every day that we've had something practical, something tactical, something applicable that you could walk away with. And if for some reason you've missed those, by all means, check out our yourclearnextstep.com, go to our blog page, and under the COVID-19, you can find a separate section where all of the daily updates have been posted out there. You can go to our YouTube channel and see all of the video recordings out there on YouTube, and you can go to the Even Better podcast on Spotify. And you can listen to those podcasts. They range between 4 and 12 minutes. It kind of depends on how chatty I was feeling that day. So they are out there. Thanks to Katrina and her great work for putting all of those out there along the way. And so we're talking about gratitude. Gratitude, why it's good for us, how to practice it, even when things are tough. So I'm thinking about things right now, and I've encountered lots of conversations, and it feels like we're in one of those moments where if we don't remind ourselves to be grateful, if we don't remember to say out loud, what am I grateful for? We run the risk of spiraling down into an, oh my gosh, another day, another week, more of this, right? And you can see my body posture sinking at the thought. It's so discouraging if we don't stop and think about the things that we're grateful for. So there have been studies and studies on gratitude and why it's good for us. And I was raised by some amazingly grateful parents. My parents have taught me gratitude throughout my whole life, and please and thank you. And the thank you was more important than the please, even, because it was a reminder that how grateful you were of the situation. And I was remarking to a couple of folks who were on early that my dad, to this day, when you ask him, hey, John, how are you doing? Or Dad, how are you? He will always answer with better than I deserve and grateful. What a great way to focus the conversation, right? And to readjust. If you approach him in a conversation, you're like, oh, I'm mad as a hatter about this. And you ask him, well, how are you today? And he says, better than I deserve and grateful. I mean, come on, nobody can churn negativity at that. You just smile. And that's what I want to do as well. I want to offer that same kind of positivity. So lots and lots of studies on gratitude over the years, lots of research. I looked through just our Your Clear Next Step newsletter library. If you do not currently get our Friday news, by all means, please go to yourclearnextstep.com and sign up for our Friday newsletter. It's a dose of inspiration in your inbox every Friday at 11. And several of those over the years, we've been doing this since about 2013. And 2012, I think, is when we started the newsletters. And several of them were about gratitude. So I pulled some of them out just to see some of the background and looked at some of the research and some of the other things there. And a couple of things that are good for us about gratitude. Why is gratitude good for us? Well, it leads to our success. And right, we're here to help have better work days. And so our success, our better work days come from gratitude. It turns out that by being grateful, you actually can, and when you focus on the good things around you and the good things that have happened, it increases your sense of well-being, and it increases your sense of, instead of focusing on the negative, you think about the good and you go, well, look at this and this and this. And it boosts your confidence. It boosts your self-esteem. Look at all these great things around me. And that boosted self-esteem gives you greater confidence. It gives you greater self-efficacy. It gives you increased performance because you've got like this spring in your step and this confidence that you can move forward because of the things that you're grateful for. Instead of saying, oh, woe is me. Oh, I run a risk of this. And oh, this is going to go wrong. And oh, when you focus on all the things that are good, you get that extra boost in your step. It's also good for us from an interpersonal interactions standpoint. So it turns out that the attitude of gratitude reduces hostility. It reduces aggression. And I think in our cabin fever sessions, we were talking about cabin fever and the increased hostility and increased irritability that can cause. Well, when we focus on gratitude, it's like we can offset that. We can take down the hostility and increase the gratitude. It can also increase our sensitivity and our ability to empathize with others. That comes from gratitude. And I have found in my own experience that when I have allowed myself to just demonstrate the things that I'm grateful for and not even be afraid at how corny I come across sometimes, that the people who enjoy being around me, like more people like to be around positive people, right? And so when you hang out with, or when you talk about the positivity and you focus on the things you're grateful for, not in a, oh, I'm all that kind of way, but in a, I'm so grateful that these great things have happened kind of way, people are drawn to that and they want to be part of that, which then allows you, right, we're even better together. So it allows you to collaborate with more people and it allows you to engage with them and build great lasting relationships. Health and wellness. Gratitude is good for that. It turns out that gratitude lets you get better sleep at night. It can there was a study that showed a direct link between gratitude and the number of aches and pains that you have. You notice, or I don't know if you don't have them or you just don't notice them, but you have fewer aches and pains by living a life of gratitude. Longevity. Building those heart muscles around gratitude, that extra, those solid nights sleep, those fewer aches and pains turn to lasting life, and the deeper relationships that you can get through gratitude can lead to longer lifespan. And in fact, there was one study that seemed to reveal that individuals who express profound gratitude on a regular basis are some of the happiest people around. Right? What a great thing to focus on, and gratitude. Well, okay, Seneca, gratitude sounds lovely when things are fine. Gratitude sounds lovely when things are easy. Gratitude, sure, I'm good at gratitude. I was great at gratitude on March 2nd. I was totally rocking gratitude when I left for spring break on March 12th. That was awesome. And then what? Then this? I don't know how to be grateful in this. Okay, that's why I'm here. Let me offer you some tips. Here's a first tip. Mindfulness. Mindfulness is a way to get to gratitude. Take a moment and be mindful of it. Just think about it. In some moment in your day, we're all establishing different habits and finding new ways through. Put a moment of mindfulness in your day where you can be mindful of something that you're grateful for. Just take a moment. I'm not saying an hour. I'm not even saying 5 minutes. Add 1 minute. Start there and see what happens. Here's another tip. Visual cues. Visual cues. So keep your blessings in a place where you can see them. And if you can't physically keep your blessings in a place where you can see them, then keep pictures of them, right? Keep reminders of them, keep posters of them. Are you grateful for your kids? That's awesome. Keep a picture of your kids nearby. They will not always be within arm's reach. And that's probably good. Are you grateful for your family and your extended family? Are you grateful for certain friends? Are you grateful for the view that you have in your backyard? Are you grateful for the hot cup of coffee that you got this morning? Keep some sort of a visual cue to remind yourself of the things in your life that you're really grateful for, and look at that periodically. Have it somewhere nearby so that when your eyes happen to glance over it, you can remember your gratitude about those things. Get your focus off yourself. Many times we churn into negativity when we focus on ourselves. It turns out that here's what happened to me today. Oh, here's what I went through today. And we kind of go in this sort of self-focused moment. But if you flip that around and you ask someone else about them and you focus on someone else, it turns out that you have the ability then to be grateful for knowing them. Tell me about your adventures today. Tell me about ways that I can help you today. You can find gratitude in things that you can do for someone else. You can find gratitude in, I'm just so grateful that we're friends. I'm grateful that we both have the opportunity to work together on this project. I'm grateful that our employer has found a way to keep us moving in all of this, right? When you get it off yourself for a second and look around you, look at others, ask them questions, you can find other things to be grateful for. Look for the learning. There's another tip there. Look for the learning. Now, that's easy for me to say. I'm a lifelong learner and I have a strong and passionate bias for lifelong learning and the continuous even betterness, right? Getting even better. If I end the day smarter than I started it, it was a good day, no matter how I had to learn that lesson. And I think it's the no matter how part that I want to focus in on right now, especially in the midst of COVID-19. I think even if the time was tough, even if the moment is unpleasant, even if the pain is real, I think we can stop and find the learning. I don't have to like what I'm going through. I don't have to like this experience. But if I can learn something and then be grateful for the learning, do you see what I'm doing there? I don't have to like it, but if I can learn, if I can figure out in what way I'm smarter, in what way I've grown, in what way I've developed, in what way I've learned something, and I can focus on that learning and then be grateful that I've learned, I can move through even those tough moments. We've talked many times, that's another technique here, we've talked many times about emotional intelligence, right? So I'm going to focus again on emotional self-awareness and self-management. I'm going to put those two together in a tip here. And that emotional self-awareness is catch yourself in those moments. Are you throwing a pity party? Are you disappointed? Are you angry? Are you hurt? Are you frustrated? Whatever those words happen to be, as soon as you catch yourself feeling something negative, see if you can practice actively turning your mind towards something you're grateful for. Actively turning your mind towards something you're grateful for. So we use this technique with a to be unnamed middle schooler some number of years ago. And this middle schooler would get sort of worked up about the stories that had happened during the day. And so we would start the conversation with, "Hello there, unnamed middle schooler, tell me about your day." And you could actually watch her face kind of scrunch up, and she'd start to tell you about something really wretched that had happened or something horrible because middle school girls are awful, right? So she would tell you these things that would happen by middle school girls around her. And she'd start in on that. And her father would come in into the conversation and just look at her and go, "Okay, tell me one thing nice that happened. One thing that you're grateful for." And in the middle of her story, she'd go, "Oh, well, this is a thing." And she'd stop, her jaw would actually drop, and she'd turn and look at him like, "Why did you just interrupt me?" But then she would totally lose the fact that she had been interrupted and shift her mind completely on focusing on something positive. And if with an external influencer, if we can get a middle schooler to be self-aware that they're doing something negative and self-manage, okay, so externally aware and externally managed, but you get the idea. If she can do it as a middle schooler, surely we can do it as grownups. And we can self-manage, self-identify, whoa, I'm spiraling here. Let me think about at least one thing I'm grateful for. Surely there is one thing in my day I can express gratitude for, and find that. And I think the last tip that I'll offer is around intentional counting. Intentional counting. Not every tip works for everybody, but some folks are journalers, and so you like to journal and watch the pages of a gratitude journal fill. Some people like to write something at the end of each day, something that they're grateful for, and watch their calendar fill with moments of gratitude. If you're a collector, right, start counting, start filling a list, and just start numbering them. So today I can count 1, and tomorrow I can count 2, and the next day I can count 3, and the next day after that I can count 4 and 5, and watch it grow and collect those things. Draw unto yourself the things that you're grateful for so that you can recall them and you can talk about them and you can enumerate them and you can recall them when you need them in moments that don't feel so grateful. So intentional counting, whether that's in written form or in verbal form, but collecting those things that you're grateful for so you can keep counting them over and over and over again. So there are some tips that I have on gratitude. I hope those are useful for you. The other piece that I want to share is that I am grateful to each of you for being here and for being part of this. And we are going to continue our Friday calls. So it's Friday Connections, and they'll stay on Fridays at the same time. We'll still have a half an hour from 1:15 to 1:45, and we'll keep it networking, and I'll offer some tips. And for as long as we can, we will have Friday Connections, and at least through the duration here of the COVID-19, and then we'll see what happens. So for now, we'll say at least the next couple of months, we'll be out here every Friday.